Hello guys and welcome to English Factory. Hope you all are keeping safe and having good time. Today I am going to teach you English Vistas class 12 prose 3 The Enemy by Pearl S. Buck. Yes children, do you have any enemy? Or whom do you call your enemy? In actual sense, we call enemy to a person who actively opposes to someone or something, or one seeking to injure his opponent or a military adversary. Children, here I ask you one question. Will you help your enemy whenever she is in need or in trouble? I expect to see your answers in the comment box. Okay, so keeping this in view, let's begin our today's prose, The Enemy. Now let's read about the author first. Pearl S. Buck, also known by her Chinese name Tsai Zhenzu, was an American writer and novelist. As the daughter of missionaries, Buck spent most of her life before 1934 in Zhenjiang, China. She was born on 26 June 1892 in Hillsborough, West Virginia, United States, and she died on 6 March 1973, Danby, Vermont, United States. She worked for movies like The Good Earth, Pavilion of Women, Dragon Seed, China Sky, Saturn Never Sleeps, and Guide. She also was awarded by Pulitzer Prize for Fiction and Nobel Prize in Literature. Before we understand the entire lesson, let's read its central theme. The Enemy gives the message that humanism transcends all man-made prejudices and barriers. Dr. Sadao upholds the ethics of medical profession in treating an enemy. The story is a great lesson of peace, love, sympathy, fellow feeling, and humanism. Let us first see the characters of the story. Dr. Sadao Hoki, who is a Japanese doctor trained by Americans. Hana, who's wife of Dr. Sadao, who met in America, became friends and got married in Japan. Tom, who's an American prisoner of war, a soldier of US Navy. Then the old general, who's a sick Japanese army general, needed an operation and trusted only Dr. Sadao. Then there is an officer who is a messenger of the general. Gardener, an old gardener in the house of Dr. Sadao. Yimi, who is Hana's maidservant. And then there's a cook, an old cook in the house of Dr. Sadao. The story takes place on a coastal town of Japan in the year 1941 when Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. A war going on in between America and Japan. Japanese were hostile to the Americans and ready to kill any American found in their soil. The scene opens outside Dr. Sadao's house situated near the sea. Let us begin with the explanation of the story. Sadao was a Japanese surgeon. He studied in America and returned with Hana, a Japanese girl whom he met there and married her in Japan and settled down comfortably. While most of the doctors were sent to serve the Japanese army in the World War II, Sadao was allowed to stay home because he was wanted by the old general who was dying. But one night into his uneventful life came an American Navy man, shot, wounded and dying. Though unwilling to help his enemy, Sadao took the younger soldier into his house and provided him with medical aid. Children, as I told you before, that there is a war between Japan and America going on, and Dr. Sadao, being Japanese doctor, got into dilemma whether to treat his American enemy soldier or not. And finally, he listened to his heart that he should serve humanity before patriotism. Doctor was in danger from that moment. Soon his servants, maid, cook and gardener refused to work in his house anymore and left him. Dr. Sadao, along with his wife Hana, who was unwilling to help American soldier, started the treatment and saw that the soldier was gradually getting well and showing sign of improvement. Although Dr. Sadao treated the American soldier on humanity cause, yet at the back of the mind, he and Hana were afraid of being called as a traitor. Children, traitor is a person who betrays his nation by treating his enemy. One night, the men of the general called the doctor for his treatment. So, after treating the general, out of the fear of being accused of sheltering an enemy, he narrated the incident to the general in the Japanese military. The general helped Dr. Sadao and offered to get the man killed by the hired killers. However, the killing didn't take place, as it slipped from the general's mind due to his illness. And after waiting for 3 nights, Dr. Sadao thought of getting rid of the American himself. At this point, being a true human being, Sadao realized the essential worth of human life and universal brotherhood. He arranged a boat for the man to help him reach the nearby island. He also provided him necessities like food and clothing to survive till he finds a Korean fishing boat which could rescue him. Dr. Sadao thought beyond countries and continents, races and wars. He found no reason to believe that the American was his enemy. Thus, Sadao rose above narrow prejudices and acted in a truly humanitarian way by treating his enemy, that's American soldier. So, children, when you start to love and help your enemies, amazing things will happen to your life definitely. So, children, be the reason that someone believes in the goodness of people. Now, let us do the important questions of this lesson. Question number 1. There are moments in life when we have to make hard choices between our roles as private individuals and as citizens with a sense of national loyalty. Discuss with reference to the story you have just read. Answer. Dr. Sadao is trapped in a dilemma. On one hand, being a doctor, having moral and ethical responsibility to save the wounded soldier, and on the other hand, being a patriot, to let the enemy die or hand him over to the army. He fulfills his ethical responsibility, saves the man, risks his own life, his family, his reputation, and then later, as a patriot, plans to get him killed with the help of the army general. Later on again, he helped him escape, which reflects his true personality. Next question, question number 2. Dr. Sadao was compelled by his duty as a doctor to help the enemy soldier. What made Hannah, his wife, sympathetic to him in the face of open defiance from the domestic staff? Answer. Hannah firmly follows her husband's sense of duty, although she knows that her husband's decision is being questioned by everyone. She is humanitarian and compassionate and goes beyond her duty to perform the task which she is not supposed to. It is her care that helps the man recover quickly. She respects her husband and has a sense of duty towards him. Question number 3. How would you explain the reluctance of the soldier to leave the shelter of the doctor's home, even when he knew he couldn't stay there without risk to the doctor and himself? Answer. Sadao and Hannah had treated the American man with a lot of kindness and warmth. The man had suffered severely at the hands of the Japanese army as he had been made a prisoner of war. This warm attitude of Sadao and Hannah gave him so much relief that he did not want to leave their house. The man felt at home safe and warm. So, even though they were at risk at the hands of the army and the people of Japan, the man was reluctant to leave them. Moving on to question number 4. What explains the attitude of the general in the matter of the enemy soldier? Was it human consideration, lack of national loyalty, dereliction of duty, or simply self-absorption? Answer. All his life, the general had performed his duties with utmost sincerity. He realized that killing innocent men had become a burden on his soul. He understood Sadao's mindset, which indicated that he wanted to save a life irrespective of the fact that he was from an enemy country. The general also considered him to be a human being and so excused Sadao to save his life. Question number 5. Why was Dr. Sadao not sent to the battlefield? Answer. Sadao was a skilled and reputed surgeon who was in the process of perfecting an invention of rendering wounds totally clean. Moreover, he was treating the old general who could need an operation any time, so he was not sent to the battlefield as his valuable services could be needed at any time in his hometown. Moving to question number 6. What was the old gardener's reaction when Dr. Sadao gave shelter to the enemy soldier? Answer. Like all the servants, the gardener did not like Sadao's efforts to save a wounded American soldier. He felt it was the unpatriotic to give shelter to a prisoner of war. He felt if his master healed what first the gun and then the sea did, they would be avenged. Moving on to last question of the story. How does the writer indicate that Dr. Sadao's father was a very traditional and conventional man? Answer. Though Dr. Sadao and Hannah had fallen in love in America, he got married to her only after his father approved of her. His father always wanted Sadao to get married to a girl who was pure in her race. Dr. Sadao's marriage to Hannah was arranged by his father in the old Japanese way, indicating that he was a traditional and conventional man. So here I come to an end of today's lesson with the words of Meryl Streep. The great gift of human beings is that we have the power of empathy. We can all sense a mysterious connection to each other. Kindness is still free and still priceless. Hope you have gained much out of today's video. Kindly like, share and subscribe to my channel English Factory and press the bell icon for notification. And also follow our Instagram ID. The link is given in the description box. Waiting for your valuable comment. Thank you and stay blessed.